Yeah, Memphis. Man, it was pretty hard to really get on in rap because Stax Records was such a big deal here. You know, Memphis is a blues town, so there wasn't really many avenues for hip hop. You know, so I mean, as a young guy, I grew up around the business. My father used to have me in the studio with him all the time, so it's like everybody at Stax was my family. You know, so I kind of understood that in order to do music, you had to have an investor. So that's one thing that kind of put me out front is I knew how the structure was. So where a lot of guys was just trying to in the talent shows and stuff like that, I was calling studios. I was hounding people trying to get an investor and stuff like that. And one day my a friend of mine hooked me up with this guy who was looking to put some money into the music business, and so that's how I got my shot. It's like he already had some guys that was in there with him. He had DJ Slice, Rod, a couple of more other people. But my determination and my work ethic is kind of propelled me past all of them because I was a newcomer, but I ended up coming out first. You know, because it's like when they used to leave the studio, I would just say, man, just lock me in here, man. I don't even want to go home. And I spend the night in there, and they get back in the morning. I got 3 songs written, about 5 beats done. It's like the work ethic was crazy back then, but that's how I ended up getting them to invest in me first. Yeah, go ahead.
You were just a kid.
Yeah. I was 15, 16 years old. I wasn't doing too well in school, so I used to leave school and go sit outside on the steps of the studio and just wait for somebody to show up. You know what I'm saying? And I finally got in, man. And when I got in, I outworked everybody. And that's how my record ended up coming out first. And after that, Atlantic picked it up. So boom, that's how we got that. That's how, that number one suspect. Classic. That's how I got that major deal. I cut half of the record with a guy named Fat Tony. That was the first investor. He got murdered before we could finish the album. I actually was in the car with him when he got killed.
You were in the car with him when he got murdered, right?
Yeah, I was in the car. I was driving, and they shot through my window. But he ended up catching the worst of that, you know. Because after that first bullet hit, I ducked because I felt glass shot in my face. So I got down, and after that, they just sprayed it up. And when I looked up, man, he had checked out. He was gone, bro. So that was the first CEO. Yeah, and then Resident Boiler came along. Too? Say that again.
Didn't you get shot too, Pat, when Tony got killed?
Yeah. I had a head wound, but it wasn't real severe because it's like some slowed the bullets that hit me. Some slowed them down. I guess it was the little paneling, like right behind the window, that little part right there with a door and all that little, it was a 1991 Mercedes Benz, so those cars are kind of airtight, so it had a lot around the stripping of the window and stuff like that. And by the grace of God, some slowed them bullets down. The one that hit me was slowed down. It didn't like crack my skull or nothing like that. But the paramedics, they was like, man, you must have had an angel in your pocket. They was like, we've never seen nobody with an injury like this, and the type of weapon that they were shooting, because they was like, man, your buddy, he caught the worst of it.